Hi guys, this is Jackie from techjackie.com. Welcome to another video on SEO. First of all, if you're brand to this channel, make sure to press the subscribe button below so when I release a new SEO video like this, you get notified. In today's SEO case studies, I'd like to go through my recent e-commerce SEO case studies, which I have helped this client. Basically, grew his organic traffic by over 1,000%, as you can see, comparing the previous 6 months to the last 6 months after I took over. Basically, like before I took over compared to after I took over, as you can see from the 3,000 click organic search clicks to 33.8k, as you can see here. As you can see, this is a live search console dashboard so I'm showing you that I'm not really, I haven't really like used any screenshots or anything, just real information here. So I've also written a case study here. I'll leave a link in the description. You can go ahead and check it out. Without further ado, let me get started what I have done for this campaign. So as you can see, this is a result by over 1,000%, which is quite a remarkable achievement after 6 months of work. Just to give you a little bit of project background here, the client runs an online store e-commerce website selling IT and networking products of various categories. So it's quite a big website, e-commerce website. So he sells products such as CCTV, IoT devices or Internet of Things, all those kind of stuff, access control, fiber optical cables, and many more of these categories, right? Networking type products. And of course some of the CCTV and different brands of the CCTV camera as well. So overall, in all, there are over like 400 products with around 5 to 7 main product categories that he really wanted to target. So there are about 5 to 7 main product categories that really bring a lot of money and are very valuable keywords, right? And the website was built using WordPress, and the client had been doing SEO by himself for a bit of time before he came to me for some help. I normally don't do SEO service for e-commerce websites because I work alone, and managing a SEO for e-commerce is quite a big of a is quite a hectic job. Like there's a lot of things to do. But since the client and I, we had collaborated before with other SEO projects, and he's a good client, so that's why I decided to to took this to basically manage this campaign, right? So just to give you a little bit of challenges, right? So just like the majority of other IT niches, there's it's quite a competitive niche, to be honest. There are a lot of other major players with high authority, very high authority websites ranking on the first page for some of the high volume, high value keywords such as CCTV or fiber optical cables. These are very high volume keywords, right? Like there are over 10,000 searches per month for these keywords. So like people searching for just CCTV camera alone, there's about, I think, 13,000. And then for this one, I think it's about like 9,000 searches per month. So you can see we're working with very high volume keywords, high commercial CPC type keywords, right? So it's quite a difficult niche. And of course, managing a e-commerce website is not an easy task as well. Another challenge that we face here is the client didn't really have enough budget or a lot of budget to invest in the branding, right? So I've been talking a lot about branding for SEO for in many of my videos. So essentially branding really helps SEO, right? So and when we're talking about high volume, high value keywords like this, you really need to invest a lot in branding to be able to match up to your competitors. But obviously the client didn't have a lot of budget in this case, so it makes it a bit more challenging to really pull this off, right? So nevertheless, we did it. We were able to basically get roughly about almost 10,000 visitors per month now. So I'm just going to scroll down and show you the results here. So this is the last 3 months results. So in the last 3 months, we have managed to get over 20,000 clicks So I would say 6 to 7,000 roughly per month of organic traffic, which isn't bad, right? It's still a work in progress. We're still working on to rank for some of the higher volume keywords higher up on the page. We have achieved many of the first page ranking already. Some are in the top 5, some are a little bit below that. So we're working on to actually increase some of those up as high as possible. And there are still some that we're still on page 2 or page 3 or page 4, which we're still working on as well. So it's a lot of work, right? E-commerce, as you know, there's a lot of stuff to work on. So, and obviously a lot of these are very high competition, so it takes time, right? But nevertheless, as you can see, the achievement has been very remarkable. Now let's get into what I've done for the campaign, right? So the first thing is always technical SEO. So the first step towards the campaign is to optimize for technical SEO. This includes things such as cleaning up some of the low quality pages like empty tag pages, duplicate blogs, linking structure. So essentially organizing the website into a much more user friendly structure. The main focus was to remove the duplicate and bloated pages that can lower the overall site quality score. So essentially what happens here is it's quite a big website. So as you can see, this, let's say this is a home page, and it's divided into multiple categories, and in all of these main categories there are also subcategories below that as well, and there's a blog section here. So essentially the first month was spent on cleaning up a lot of the junk pages. So the client actually created a lot of tag pages which create a lot of duplications. Some of the tags are even empty pages and all that. So I spend time cleaning up those URLs, doing the redirects, combining pages. So pages that are essentially relevant to each other, I would combine them if I find them to have value. Pages that don't really have value, I just delete them off. Some of the blogs are duplicated of each other. So there were a couple of blogs published by the clients. Some of them were duplicated of each other. So I deleted the blogs, or I essentially 301 redirect them as per suitable, right? And then after we completed the technical, the next step was the on-page SEO. And yes, another thing we did in the technical was to rearrange some of these categories and group them together in a more meaningful, user-friendly way. So it actually helps with the internal linking, right? Like some of the main product categories were not really easily accessible on the website, so we put them in a navigation menu and all that. So these were all the technical things we did. Next, we move on to the on-page optimization. So there's obviously a couple of things we did with the on-page. I dive like when it comes to e-commerce, there's really not a lot of things you can do with the on-page, but nevertheless, I try to put in as maximum effort as possible. So the first thing was heading tags optimization, very important. So with e-commerce, there are two type of pages, right? So there's the category listing page and there's the product page. The majority of traffic actually goes to your product category pages, right? Like let's say someone searched for a CCTV camera, it's gonna be your product category page that ranks for it. Or any other big head term keyword type, it's gonna be mostly product categories. That's mostly because of the user intent. So if someone search for something like CCTV camera, buy CCTV camera and all that, Google knows people wants to find options, right? So they're not just looking for a specific product. So that's why most of the pages that are going to be valuable and ranking for e-commerce are going to be your category pages. So if you're doing e-commerce SEO out there and you're still kind of new, just remember, pay attention to your category pages. The product pages aren't that important. You still want to optimize them here and there, but they're not really important. So when it comes to product category optimization, the first thing was H1 heading optimization. So on the top, I would have the H1 there. So I would optimize them using my own technique. Obviously, the title also it will be there. It will be optimized in the same way as H1. There will be a bunch of first paragraphs here, so a couple of 3 to 4 lines of content Again, I'll optimize here as well, which is going to be in this part here, sentence level optimization, but I'm just combining them just to let you know. And then obviously there's the product listing here. We decide to show as many products as possible. That there are a lot of reasons why you would do that, but just to kind of let you know, on a surface level, you want to display as many products as possible. It is good for users for sure. When someone lands on your page, they want to see a lot of products you have. If you only have a few products, obviously it's going to be quite a bad user experience. So the first thing, obviously, some of the hit, and then at the bottom there will be some little bit of content at the bottom, not much, just a few there. Again, maybe one heading text is there. So this is the first thing we did. And then we also obviously sentence level optimization. So making sure that every sentence is properly optimized. So even though there's very little paragraphs on the category listing page, I still made sure to optimize each and every sentence using all the most important semantic keywords, right? So all the relevant words essentially. Now, when it comes to finding all these semantic keywords or relevant words to use in your content, whether it's your category page, your product page, or your blog page, I do have my own tools that I use to kind of help a little bit speed up the process, but still a lot of these are manual stuff anyway. It comes from my own strategies of doing the on page. So obviously I cannot share the tools I use. It's my own custom tools. I only use it for my service, or let's say if let's say you're my SEO coaching client, I also share that with my coaching client as well. So it's very exclusive. Anyway, if you don't have it, you can obviously use tools like Surfer SEO or any other on-page SEO tools available in the market. They can still do a pretty good job in finding these words as well, right? So I make sure I optimize each and every sentence to the detail using all the relevant words. And obviously there's a few other rules to keep in mind when writing content to make sure it's NLP friendly or algorithmic friendly. Again, you can still keep it natural. Just write relevant content, get to the point. Don't write a lot of fluff. Then apart from optimizing the existing categories, I also created a bunch of new category pages. So like I said, product categories are very important for e-commerce SEO. Therefore, I also went ahead and created a bunch of new categories and subcategories that targeted more keywords, right? Our goal is to obviously maximize number of traffic, so we want to create as many of these category pages as possible. And a lot of our efforts were spent on these category pages anyway, right? Like when you're doing SEO, you need to be able to prioritize your work. If you're in e-commerce SEO, your main focus should be on these categories pages, not your blogs. Yes, it would still be fine to have some blog articles, but blogs really comes towards like later on in the campaign. First, make sure you have as many category pages as possible. Make sure they're properly optimized. When you do your off page, when you build backlinks, make sure you focus on your categories pages as well, right? Don't just focus on creating a lot of blogs. A lot of blogs don't really do much for your SEO. That's what I can tell you. So prioritize your work, right? Prioritize what's important. Okay, anyway, moving on to the next thing is also keyword count and variation optimization. So again, this kind of combines with the sentence level thing that I mentioned earlier. Is when I optimize for the word, I also make sure to check the frequency or how many times I use some of these important words. Like for example, CCTV. I make sure to check the competitor's average and see how many times I should use this word. Again, you can use tools like Surfer SEO for this. I do have my own a little bit of manual way of how I do things, but it doesn't really matter much. After we complete with all these categories, page optimization and creation, I didn't do much of the product pages because of product pages. I basically leave it to the client because like I said, product pages aren't really that important anyway, and the client still runs the business, so he regularly add new products, regularly delete products, and change the product information here and there. So the product, I just leave it to him. and they're not important anyway for ranking. And anyway, he already knows some basic SEO stuff, so he knows how to optimize basic titles, H1, and all that. So he just writes normal content for these pages. Again, not that big of a deal. Most of the effort were on the page category pages, and also some of the efforts were spent on the blog as well, like I said. So this comes to this point here where we work on the blog creations. So I added a couple of blocks later down the line of after completing these. Some of the blocks obviously will help with the internal linking, so we added internal link back to help support the main category pages. Again, these blogs were also optimized in the same way of these category pages, like the heading tags optimization, the semantic keywords, usage of all the relevant words, the sentence structure, the keyword counts, and all that. Everything same strategy here, right? And lastly, obviously, internal linking. So again, very important. Make sure to use like keyword anchor text. So we put the keyword link back to some of these important category pages, right? So that's all we did. And then after that, we start seeing some results. Then the clients, then we start off the off-page optimization. So first off, obviously, I advise the client to start with branding. So the client spend some budget here and there into advertisement. So that helped push the website even more with the rankings and all that. And then lastly, I started with the backlink building campaign. So the backlinks were built to different pages, the category page to some of the blogs pages in a very strategic way. So there, I have ways of how I build links. So building links to some of the pages are more valuable than some of the others. But obviously I can't go into detail in this quick videos, but anyway, the blog links were built to some of the blogs, built to some of the categories, and through internal linking, that kind of help flows the link juice around the website. And with the links, I always prefer PBNs and a little bit of guest posts here and there. PBNs are always my go-tos, no matter what people say, if they're black hat or gray hat SEO, whatever. I just like to use them. But obviously there are ways to use them better than the others, so you have to be careful of how you use these PBNs. But nevertheless, we did build a lot of links, but yeah, there were some amount of links that we built because the website is quite big, right? We can't just build one or two links and then it's done. We need to build some of the links, enough of the links, so that the link power can flow around and help support the overall website, right? And that's pretty much it. Nothing complicated. Obviously, smaller details in between here and there, which I cannot really share in this video. But anyway, you already see a bigger picture here. Here's the results after 6 months. Obviously, 1000% and more increase in the traffic. And here's a 3 months result, right? So just a key takeaway here: e-commerce SEO is not that complicated. As long as you, let's say you use WordPress or you use Shopify, most of the technical stuff should already be covered. The rest just depends on creating of these category pages, optimize them a little bit, not too much. You don't really have to go as much detail as I did with all the sentence level and everything. But again, if you want an edge over your competitors, you want to give everything you have to the on page, and then add some blocks here and there in between. Don't focus a lot on blocks, focus on these categories. Do some branding, very important, right? A lot of people don't do branding. Add a little bit of branding here and there. And lastly, top everything up with some links. And there you go, nothing complicated. You can get results like this as well. If you want a little bit of more advanced stuff, like small detail here and there, you can obviously sign up for my advanced SEO training or coaching program, where I share everything in more detail. Or if you want just monthly SEO service, whether you're doing e-commerce. By the way, I don't always do SEO for e-commerce, so you have to maybe get in touch with me first. I need to check how big is the website. Otherwise, for service-based business, I'm all in for it. So let me know if you want any of my SEO service. That's all for it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.